We have, oh, and we actually now have video of from a parking garage above that we're going to show you. You can see that ATV was just absolutely flying. A couple things he did. First, he was going south on Marietta, and there was a big line of Atlanta bicycle police officers that were blocking the street. They'd been stationed there pretty much the entire night. He drove by them. He was swerving a little bit, going at an incredibly fast rate of speed, and I saw him kind of wave to them, or just throw his hand up at them, continued to go south on Marietta, turned around, started heading north. Now he was going, mind you, he was going north in the southbound lane. I was reviewing old video that we had, and there was actually a police cruiser that was in the road, just coincidentally happened to move out of the way at the exact moment that the ATV passed by, so he did not crash into that cruiser. That's whenever I looked up and I saw there were several APD motorcycles that had been blocking Marietta at Ted Turner, so that way people could not get in and out, and an officer was waving his hands trying to get the guy to slow down, but he was just absolutely flying, going so fast, and I could hear it, and it was just such a shocking sound. He crashed right into that motorcycle, and it was just such a loud sound. I saw the ATV rider fall off of his ATV. That police officer went down to the ground. I do not know if he was hit directly, or I don't think he was. From what I remember seeing, it happened so fast, but it really looked like the ATV hit the motorcycle, but the officer was right there trying to flag him down whenever it happened. And just seconds later, everyone, all the officers that were here went up there, started surrounding him, put that officer into Grady EMS, took him to Grady, where we again are told he is in stable condition, but did suffer significant injuries. It was just an incredible scene. It was really just shocking, and the sound that it made whenever it crashed in there, I don't know if I'll ever forget it. It's kind of ringing in my head right now as I think about it.
And Ryan, you have to anticipate that is how those officers feel too. Ron, you mentioned that they were having a moment of relaxation after getting the crowd out successfully, and they were just sort of hanging around a little bit, still being very vigilant, but just taking a time to regroup after a very long night, especially if some of them were out there last night as well. And we watched this on live TV with that ATV zipping through, and it happened so fast. So despite no protesters being around, they were still in danger.
Yeah, still in danger. And you and I were chatting about it. As a matter of fact, I was giving you a little perspective and said, hey, you notice how they've taken off their gas masks, they've taken off their helmets, they're just taking a breather, eating a little dinner, drinking some water, some of them hugging each other, laughing, joking, thinking about the next mission, because they had the posture of mission accomplished. And right during our conversation, I was looking at the screen here, and you could see the ATV just zip through, and then within seconds, you saw a lot of those bicycle officers running towards that location. You knew something really bad had happened. And of course, Ryan, he let us know what's going on. But now, as they continue to investigate and reconstruct that crime scene, as we saw them do that, now we have to wonder, was there intent? Was there just negligence with that guy going through there at a high rate of speed? But next they're going to have to figure out, the investigators are going to have to figure out, was there intent?
We want to get you back on the ground downtown with Nick Sturdivant. Nick, what can you tell us tonight?
Yeah, we're still here at the intersection of Marietta and Centennial, right across the street from the Centennial Olympic Park. And before you guys got to us a few minutes ago, we noticed several people being taken into custody. 2 were taken up here, and then 2 more were placed into, I believe, zip ties over here in this area. And things have been pretty peaceful for the most part since we've been here about 45 minutes, but some tense moments as officers are basically telling people, hey, there's a curfew in place, you need to go home, and they putting people into custody. It looks like officers are moving in on one guy right here. I don't know if they're going to take him into custody, but again, this is sort of a similar situation that we saw several minutes ago before you guys came to us. And again, officers are not playing with people. They've come up to several people. They're putting him in handcuffs or zip ties right now. And they've been leading people up towards the CNN building in that direction. on Centennial. So, but yeah, this is the scene playing out right now. This guy is being taken into custody. And again, the curfew is in place. Officers have told numerous people and stopped numerous people, hey, there's a curfew in place, 9 o'clock, you need to be home. Some people have complied. You've seen others like this have not complied, and they've been taken into custody. So this is what we're seeing here. There's still a heavy police presence. We're actually down the street from Ryan Kruger and photojournalist Charles Holmes, where they have been set up. Just in front of me, you have National Guard. You have the choppers too, but you have National Guard who have set up a perimeter at the park, making sure that no one breaks in, nobody is there. But again, yeah, for the most part peaceful, but what you see right there behind me, people have been taken into custody.
So Nick, were those actual arrests? They weren't protesters, right? Or were they protesters or people just out after the curfew who didn't comply with leaving the area?
One guy looked like a protester. He had a Fight the Power shirt on. A couple of the other guys looked like they were, just hanging out in the area. It's unclear. I can't tell you if there were protesters or not, but it appeared one. And I just got an update from one of our producers. We've had 51 arrests here tonight so far. 8 p.m. it was 34. Now it's at 51 arrests. But again, to answer your question, one guy looked like a protester. The others, not so much. But I don't want to misspeak on that.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. We're going to transition now to another reporter who's been on the ground for us tonight, Hope Ford, near Ted Turner.
Yeah, Aisha, so it's, as you can see, it's quiet behind me. There are police officers right there. We're kind of across the street from where Ryan is and where that officer was hit. So we're over here right now. We have seen a couple of people walking by. Some people walking by pretty freely, and then there have been a couple of other arrests from people who were walking by, and police were telling them to move. They were turning around. They were yelling things at the police, and that's when the police moved in to make those arrests. But speaking of arrests, I want to talk about an arrest that we captured earlier, not too far from here. So it was a woman and a man were pulled out of a car by police and arrested. So I want to go back to that because we were able to talk to police about what happened and why those two people were arrested. So from what we saw earlier, police swarmed around this car, and they took out the young lady, they took out the young man, and they arrested them. As they were being arrested, the two people, they walked by, they saw our cameras, they started saying, "We don't know why we're being arrested. We don't know why we're being arrested." The officer actually saw that, and he told the young man, "Calm down. All you had to do was put your hands up. You almost got shot." We did hear a taser go off, and we did see at least one officer pull his weapon out. That officer who pulled his weapon out actually came over and explained to us what he says happened. He says that the car was driving and there was an officer in the road and the car wasn't stopping. So officers were trying to flag this car down to get it to stop. It wouldn't stop and almost ran into the officer. When they walked up to the car and they tried to get the girl to step out of the vehicle, she refused, so that's when they started to pull her out. As far as why the gun was drawn, the young man was reaching into his pocket for something. So that's when those guns came out. One of the officers who pulled his gun out recognized that it was a cell phone. And that's when he told the officers to put their guns down. That's when they tased the young lady. She was resisting a little bit, and they arrested those two people. The officer said that those two people are just being detained. So that's what happened in that arrest there. But we're going to toss it back to you right now, Aisha.
All right, Hope, thank you so much for giving us some little context and perspective on that video, because it was one of the most aggressive arrests that we did see. So it's good to have some of the information behind that. We did get an APD update tonight saying that, again, most of the area of heavy protest was Marietta Street and Andrew Young International Boulevard downtown. They did tell us, though, that although we didn't see a heavy presence, damage did continue to be an issue tonight. Damage to property, including at least one patrol vehicle being damaged and breaking out windows of APD's Zone 5 precinct on Ted Turner Drive downtown. We're going to give you more updates on what that update was from APD, but for right now, let's go to Andy Parati on the ground for us tonight.
Hi, Aisha. We're off of Cortland Avenue, about 2 blocks away from Grady, and we were on the way to Grady in anticipation of reporting about the condition of the officer that was hit by the ATV. But then we came across this scene over here. Take a look. Right across the street, there appears to be close to a dozen individuals that are on the ground, surrounded by police officers. They're being detained. Also here are first responders from Grady Memorial, Grady right here, about to take out Gurney here. We've seen someone across the street surrounded by medics and police officers. We don't know what the situation is, but someone has been being treated for the past few minutes ever since we got here. We also saw another officer getting bandaged up. He didn't appear to be in serious pain because we saw him smiling, but definitely medics were around treating him. Before we got to this location, about a block away, we were driving past the Sheraton and we saw someone run into the Sheraton. Right after that, APD officers pulled in. 3 of them ran inside, and then they took an individual into custody. We don't know the circumstances behind that arrest, but that individual that was being arrested, he says that he was a veteran. He says he didn't know why he was being arrested. But that's the situation right here. Large presence here. A lot of individuals in custody over there, and we got another individual across the street injured. We don't know the circumstances of this person's injuries. Aisha, back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Andy. We're going to bring in Ron Jones. Andy, stand by. We're going to have a few follow-up questions for you about where you are and more of what you're seeing. Ron, this is really taking a turn as we thought we were wrapping up.
But you know what, when you think about it, Aisha, try to think of it in terms of a firefighter. So you have this huge blaze, right? And you bring in the firefighters, they put out the huge blaze, just like the officers did. They kept that violence from erupting. And then once you put out the blaze, you're still going to have hot spots. So they've contained the big thing, right? But then they're going to continue to take care of the hot spots. And these sound like these are part of the hot spots downtown. Andy, I was going to ask you, tonight we did notice that some of the officers had left the area where this one officer had been hit by an ATV, and they had full riot gear on. Do you see any of those officers in your area with the helmets and the masks and the body armor?
You know, we do see some individuals with riot gear, but nothing like what we saw earlier with the heavy riot gear at the corner near Centennial Park. Nothing like that here. We're seeing individuals with masks and what you would imagine someone to wear if they were doing traffic patrol outside, but nothing with the heavy riot gear that we saw earlier today. These individuals look like they were patrolling either on foot or in their vehicles. Lots of police vehicles surrounding this area. So we don't know exactly what was happening before we got here. We got here, and within less than 8 minutes, we were live. So we stopped. We put the camera on, we got live, and we just wanted to show you what was going on because we knew that we had heard the injury about the officer that was hit by the ATV, and we saw the Grady ambulance here, and we saw an officer getting bandaged up. Don't know the circumstances again. All that we know is that there's a lot of individuals in custody right there, and we don't know the circumstances of why they are in custody.
All right, thanks, Andy.
Ron.
All right, Andy Parati.
All right, thanks, Andy.
For us there.
Go ahead, Aisha. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem, Ron. So curfew now in effect in Atlanta for about 2 hours and 15 minutes. But as we see, protesters have still remained being under arrest out there tonight, with a few people refusing to abide by the curfew when police and law enforcement tried to tell them, hey, curfew in effect, it's time to go home. Latest update from APD that we were telling you about was windows were broken out at the APD Zone 5 precinct on Ted Turner Drive downtown. At least one patrol vehicle was damaged, and other businesses, also the Dunkin' Donuts at Lucky Street and Forsyth Street and other downtown businesses. Officers still continue throughout the night to endure rocks and other items being thrown at them. And they continue to get reports of armed protesters in these groups. As of 10:50 p.m. Officers have made 51 arrests, but even after that, when we saw Nick Sturtevant, there were more arrests being made. But as of 10:50, Jeff, 51 arrests have been made, and we see these arrests going down right now. Andy said it's about a dozen people in zip ties over there with no idea of the circumstances behind those arrests. But across from Andy, someone has also been injured. So while the bulk of the crowd did disperse and we saw those empty streets downtown and cars just cruising around, it seems that there are some smaller pockets popping up that haven't died down.
Yeah, the curfew began at 9 p.m., so here we are 2.5 hours later, still in the midst of this curfew, and still Atlanta police very active as far as arresting people. We received an email from Atlanta police around 8 o'clock. At that point, they had made 34 arrests during the day, so they have now increased it by approximately 20. The assumption, at least from what we have seen, at least viscerally, is that so many more arrests certainly will be part of that tally, part of that total by the time that sunrise comes. So the question now is, where do Atlanta police go from here? What do they continue this sort of action of checking protesters? Do they continue to ensure that they do not reassemble or do not gather again in the park and then find themselves once again trying to move them out?
It's about 11:20 right now. We're still seeing officers line the streets, and we've been making this point all night to say that we are a little bit shocked to see that traffic is being able to move about in these areas. We are also still following the story that Ryan Kruger is on in his scene. Look off in the distance. We have a few more arrests happening there. Wanted to pivot to that as we were seeing that live image on TV. A couple more arrests happening too, so definitely can anticipate a new update. Let's get the very latest from APD on the update from the officer that was injured as a speeding ATV driver came down the street. We're going to bring that up on the screen for you to tell you the latest update from APD about this officer as we try to monitor that situation. The officer was taken to Grady in stable condition. It says an APD motorist officer appears to have been struck by someone riding an ATV in area of 200 Ted Turner Drive. The officer sustained significant injuries and has been transported to Grady in stable condition. The rider appears to have suffered minor injuries and was taken into custody. That rider was speeding down the street. During our live feed, we caught it, but Ryan was on the ground and could see it, that once the ATV rider, there you go, see him zip by, barely missing the APD vehicle, first of all. And then Ryan said the ATV driver turned around, and that's when he collided with the officer that was standing outside of his motorcycle. The officer was not on his motorcycle, but standing near his motorcycle unit, waving, trying to get this person to slow down, but not soon enough because there was some sort of collision. Now with that officer being in stable condition, taken into Grady, and whoever was on that ATV taken into custody, as we see more people being taken into custody tonight.
We're joined right now by Governor Brian Kemp for the second time this evening. Governor Kemp, thanks for being with us again. We appreciate it at this late hour. Can you give us an update as you have been watching events unfold in Atlanta and Atlanta Metro?
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. So far so good tonight. I think we've shown that we had a great plan working with Mayor Bottoms, Chief Shields, and all of the state resources and other locals that are involved. Very pleased to see how well everybody has coordinated and communicated together on the response. For the most part, it's been very, very quiet and peaceful, even though it's obviously been a lot of activity. But so far so good tonight, but the night's not over. We're continuing to keep our foot on the gas. I'm still in the State Operations Center with our whole team, and we continue to monitor situations not only here in Athens, but tracking other things around the state.
It really was a different tack today from what we have seen from government, from the mayor, from the Atlanta police chief, from you as well, when you ratcheted up 500 National Guard to 1,500. It was a concerted effort to try and show a very strong arm here against anarchy, which the mayor described as political interference, that anarchists had taken over, essentially hijacked what was a peaceful march and a peaceful protest. And this has been a much different face of law enforcement than we saw 30 hours ago.
Well, I certainly agree with the mayor's sentiments on that anarchy and the unfortunate, minority of individuals that were out on the streets last night and tonight that have a different agenda than justice, that people are really demanding right now, and for good reason. And I'm supportive of that and supportive of peaceful, nonviolent protest. Unfortunately, there are those that have a different agenda that are living for destruction of property and lives and other things all around the country tonight. And the response that we've had tonight, sending the message that we're not going to put up with that here in the state of Georgia. We have a lot of resources at our disposal, and I was willing to use every single bit of them tonight to make sure that that was the case, and that's exactly what we've been doing. And I will say, Jeff, we're going to continue to do that. We're tracking things in other parts of the state that will be going on tomorrow. So I have just extended the public state of emergency for this response statewide, and have given myself the ability through that executive order to call up the rest of the Georgia National Guard, up to 3,000 troops if needed, and that will run through next weekend, really sending a message that no matter where these agitators go, we will be there, and we will be ready to respond and support the local communities and protect the lives and the livelihoods of those communities.
Governor Kemp, will you be looking any further into if this was some sort of orchestrated or set up protest to invade cities where these people are not residents of? Are we going to look into that? Now, we've heard from other governors and mayors all across the country echoing that sentiment that these people were not from their areas, but it is them that are left with such devastation and very costly destruction. Are we going to look any further to see if that was indeed the case that happened here in Atlanta?
Well, we have been in coordination through the State Operations Center and Georgia Emergency Management Agency about federal prosecution for some of those that were here. So we'll continue to monitor that situation and anything else that we have from a prosecution standpoint for those individuals that were causing this disruption.
Have you heard from the federal government at all today? Have you heard from the White House about the situation here in Atlanta?
Yeah, I did talk to one of our liaisons in the White House earlier today. They were just checking in to see how we were doing, seeing if we needed anything. I certainly appreciate that. I let them know that we had the resources that we needed and that we were working in touch with the mayor's office and with Chief Shields. I actually passed along the chief's number to them. I think they were going to try to reach out and ask the same of them. So we have had that communication.
Governor Kemp, thank you for your time tonight. We appreciate it. Is there anything else that you would like to say to our viewers right now as they continue to watch Atlanta police in Centennial Olympic Park arrest those who are still milling about, even though the curfew has been in effect for 2.5 hours? Anything that you might like to share with those listening right now that have been greatly concerned about safety?
Well, I would just tell those individuals that are doing the right thing, that are at home and following the order of the curfew order of the mayor, and have stayed out of harm's way today, that we appreciate that, number one. And number two, they can know as they go to bed tonight that we'll still be up monitoring this as long as we need to keep them and their communities safe.
And again, say one more time how long the state of emergency will last.
It'll run through the end of next weekend. Obviously I can extend that again if we see the need for it. I don't believe I will, but we have that tool at our disposal. But we're going to stay up on active operations here at the State Center through the end of next weekend.
Got it. Governor Kemp, thanks for your time. We appreciate you checking in with us tonight. We appreciate the information.
Thanks so much.
Well, even while we were talking to the governor, we still had our live stream going, Jeff, and we saw even more arrests happening downtown. Looks like we see those buses that were intended to load up protesters or people who were not abiding by the curfew, to load them up and get them processed after they were arrested. So it seems like although protests in large numbers and, you know, the big, heavy, thick crowd that we saw, and flames and fire and graffiti and destruction, it was at a smaller magnitude, but this response was indeed necessary. And it looks like it was, you know, impactful as far as dispersing the crowd within a timely fashion. None of the business owners wanted to see this go in the direction, and a lot of the community members who believe in peaceful protesting and getting your point across and keeping the root of the issues at the forefront, none of them wanted to see a second night of what we witnessed last night. Although there were far more arrests, that speaks to the zero tolerance policy that Chief Shields and Mayor Bottoms said they would hit the ground running tonight with making these arrests and making sure that their approach was strong and being backed by Governor Kemp, bringing in the National Guard. We saw that take place tonight. We're going to keep a close eye on two developing stories that we have working right now. One, the APD officer that was hit by an ATV driver. That APD officer is in stable condition. Also, the scene about 10 minutes ago where we saw Andy Parati, about a dozen people all on the ground under arrest there. Not sure what the circumstances were there, Jeff. Ron, let's tell us, what are you thinking about, you know, how this night has progressed? We've taken a few turns here, but not in a similar direction as last night. It's not so much focused on protests right now.
Yeah, I would call it a success. If I'm part of APD, if I'm part of the state, if I'm part of any of those mutual aid agencies, I would say tonight was a success. I mean, obviously, you do not want a fellow law enforcement officer to be injured, no one to be injured or anything worse than that. But I would call it a success if you look at it in contrast to what we saw last night. And just think about this. The governor had promised 500, right? This is last night. He says, I'm going to promise you 500 National Guardsmen. Today, he upped the ante and said, I'm going to give you 1,500. And then tonight, he lets 11 Alive know. He says, you know what? For the next week, I'm going to give you 3,000 guardsmen to get out here to make sure that this does not get out of control again. So if you couple that with all the multiple agencies as well, you can see that they are taking this zero tolerance to the extreme. I mean, they're really serious about this. As we were watching this young man being hooked up right now, zip ties placed on his arm, and he's going to be taken into custody. So I would call tonight a success so far. But the other thing, Aisha and Jeff, what I find interesting, we haven't heard about any other hot spots in other parts of the metro. Not yet, and hopefully we don't.
Yeah, and one of the underlying themes that we heard from last night from Mayor Bottoms, from Killer Mike, from TI, was saying that Atlanta is the place where Black people especially have thrived, especially as it relates to business and entrepreneurship. And all the looting and vandalism last night really impacted the Black community and Black business owners. Andy Parati standing by with a local business owner to talk about the impact of what has gone on in the past 24 to 36 hours, Andy.
Hi, Aisha. We are just a few blocks away from Grady, and we came across this business ransacked, not ransacked, but all the windows broken. This is the owner, Robin. Robin, what happened?
I was at home. We've been feeling uneasy since yesterday. One of my business partners was talking about all of our windows. I felt like the street was quiet enough that all of the activity was elsewhere. And then about 15 minutes ago, I was notified that all of the windows had been out, and I actually live in the building. I heard what sounded like firecrackers, but I had no idea all of this had happened.
So all this?
Yes.
Just
every
moments
window.
Ago.
Yes. It had to be 15 minutes ago. The officer said there were about 30 kids came by and just busted up all the windows.
And you've owned this business for just about a year.
Yes, we're actually about a year and a few months. And we just had a strategy meeting for our post-COVID strategy, and this is just another thing to deal with.
Robin, you're a black female business owner. These people were out here allegedly protesting police brutality, inequality. What's going through your mind knowing that these individuals were saying that we're out here protesting for your rights, you know, your friends' rights, and then this happens?
It's a lot of pain in our society, and in a situation like this, the lines between right and wrong are very thin. Hurt people, and it takes away from the real issues in society, which is we have to do better with hate and racism, and I think a lot of people don't have the type of guidance and love that they need to really function in a society that's has a overtone of oppression.
Robin, I can't thank you enough for doing this interview in such short notice, literally opening the door, showing us the damage. I wish you the best in cleaning up, reopening after the pandemic and through the pandemic, and then picking up the pieces from here. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much.
Pray.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
the main thing. Pray.
Yes.
Aisha, there you go. Right when we thought this protest this evening was going to be nonviolent and no property damage, something like this happens. We've also been told, APD told me, you know those individuals we showed you earlier, there was about a dozen of them on the ground detained. That officer telling us that they believe that those were the individuals that did all of this damage. Guys, back to you.
All right, Andy, thank you so much for connecting the dots for us on that one and giving us that heartfelt interview. We wish her and her business the best. We saw this morning, first thing, people were hitting the ground, coming out to help businesses clean up for people that they didn't even know. And along with those images, people were saying, this is Atlanta. That is who we are as a community. So we hope that she gets the help that she needs and the support that she needs. And like she said, her business was off the beaten path, not in the direct line. So not necessarily thinking, you know, she's not near Centennial Olympic Park, or, you know, not really in the thick of it. And something like that still happened to her business. So while this night felt a little bit less intense, everyone can't say that, Jeff.
No, it has been an evening. I mean, as we take a look again at the various correspondence that we've had from Atlanta Police tonight, I mean, they're still getting pelted with all kinds of objects, and, you know, property damage is still going on, and peaceful protests have been somewhat elusive tonight. It's been noisy. There has been an injury now to an Atlanta police officer who was standing next to his motorcycle when the ATV came crashing through. He has significant serious injuries, though he is listed in stable condition. The driver of the ATV, who was speeding through, minor injuries. He is now in custody and will be facing a myriad of charges. But again, we have seen a very busy day and a very busy night, essentially with three locations today. One at the governor's mansion, where John Schierick was. Nick Sturdivant was out at Lawrenceville at the Sugarloaf Mills, and we have seen Centennial Olympic Park tonight. The crowds went away, you know, somewhat uneventful in Gwinnett County, and the Georgia State Patrol did a nice job handling the protesters to make sure that they were safe on West Paces Ferry as they were blocking traffic there, and they were sitting, and then at various times they were chanting as well. But that has been a peaceful protest by every definition that we understand tonight.
And as things wrapped up there in Gwinnett County, Nick Sturdivant headed downtown Atlanta to check on the situation there, to give our crews another set of hands there on the ground. That's where we find Nick. Nick, tell us exactly where you are tonight.
Yeah, we're on the corner of Marietta and Centennial, right across the street from Centennial Olympic Park. And look, Atlanta Police is not messing around right now. They are, at one point, they were giving out warnings to people, telling them, hey, it's 9 o'clock, it's past curfew, you need to go home. But within the last maybe 15, 20 minutes, we saw close to a dozen people be led away in zip ties. They were placed into custody. Look, I was only a few steps away from photographer John Samuels, and when they were putting people in custody, they looked at me and I was forced to show my credentials. So that shows you the severity of everything and how serious they're taking this situation right now in downtown. Again, there's still a heavy police presence. You hear the chopper above me. There are police officers right here on the corner by the CNN building. There are also, where our camera is pointing, there's police officers right there near where that scene, where that accident happened earlier. But again, they are looking. They're patrolling the streets right now, APD, and they're making sure people are off the streets. Again, they're not messing around. If they see somebody that is spotted out of place, they're grabbing them. What video am I looking at?
We still have you live, Nick.
Well, I'm going to continue to describe what's going on right now. Again, not much happening right now here in downtown. It's pretty calm, but again, several minutes ago, 8 to 10 people were put into custody. And again, APD is taking it very, very seriously. If you're out, it's past curfew. If you're out, they're going to put you in zip ties. They're not even giving warnings at this point.
All right, thank you so much, Nick Servant, bringing us that live report from downtown Atlanta near Centennial Olympic Park, where he says APD is not messing around. The response indeed escalated out there tonight, even coming from Governor Kemp. Let's give you a recap of the new state of emergency. Governor Kemp says after numerous discussions with local and state leaders, he's signed an order authorizing the activation of up to 3,000 National Guard troops statewide ahead of several planned protests on Sunday. So we could be right back in this position tomorrow. He took it up from 500 to 1,500 and now to 3,000, extending that state of emergency. He says the highly trained citizen soldiers will partner with law enforcement to preserve peace and protect Georgians in every corner of our great state. So if this was the presence we saw out there tonight, if we have round 3 tomorrow, the law enforcement presence is expected to be double.
All right, let's go back to Andy Parati, who is near Centennial Olympic Park.
What's your name?
I'm Riley.
I'm going to ask all real quick.
Andy, all yours.
Hey guys, I don't know if you can hear me. There's a helicopter right above me that's very, very loud. I can barely hear it, but we are live right now, Kathy. We've got a great group of individuals here that we did not expect to find. I was walking by them and I saw this huge crate of food and water, and they were giving it to law enforcement. And I asked, like, what are you guys doing here? And they are actually out here giving food and water to law enforcement. What's your name?
John Barcalder.
I'm Riley.
I'm Abby.
And I'm DJ.
Tell me why you're here tonight and what are you doing?
Law enforcement is just a passion, and I feel like if they're serving and fighting on the front lines, then we should also be serving on the front lines as well, and just giving back to the people that protect us. So.
And what's been their response when you come up to them with this huge crate of food?
A lot of them already have water and snacks and everything. A few have accepted so far, but we're hoping to reach out to a lot more law enforcement officers and first responders. If we see any National Guard, then we're definitely going to give it to them as well. We still have like 4 packs of water back in our car. So.
Wow. And what gave you this idea? Like, why come out here almost midnight and do this?
Well, I got off my jog at 6 o'clock, but I woke up this morning and I really felt it upon my heart that this is what I should have done. So I asked, my friends if they wouldn't mind coming with us. Just last of the minute, spur of the moment idea, and we left about 7, 8 o'clock, and now we're here. So.
Well, I can tell by the looks of the faces when you talk to some of the law enforcement and you're handing out water that they really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to do this. I know that they appreciate it, and I hope you guys stay safe tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
So here's just a different type of perspective we didn't expect tonight. Most of the reporting we've been doing all evening is talking about protesters who are heated and passionate about Black Lives Matter. We talked about some vandalism that we just saw just a short distance away, and we talked about some individuals that were taken into custody for breaking the curfew. I will ask them, actually, why law enforcement haven't asked them to leave. It is past the 9 p.m. curfew, and I will ask law enforcement. But something different than what we expected to see tonight. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Andy. We look forward to your response from law enforcement about that, as that curfew is applicable to everyone who is out there tonight, regardless of your cause, which that was indeed a very notable cause there, as we see more arrests taking place with people who may have had different motives or intentions, or may have just been walking around the area, didn't know about the curfew. We don't know the circumstance of each person who is downtown and who is out after curfew. So we will be interested to get an update from Andy about those individuals being out there as well, or if they are going to be asked to go ahead and turn it in after they finish their good deeds out there tonight. As we see here, more arrests still going down. Curfew is in effect, but is that the scene of the ATV on the right that we're seeing, guys, downtown? Still following that story of the APD officer that was hit by an ATV driver after things had seemingly calmed down on Ted Turner. Much of the protesting crews and people had dispersed, but as crews were APD were set up out there, a lot of their bicycle patrol units, a person came down the street flying on an ATV, which is not a legal mode of transportation within the city of Atlanta, and seemingly turned around and came back through. And that is when that ATV encountered an APD officer who has been taken to Grady in stable condition. We are keeping an eye on that officer. The person in charge of the ATV was taken into custody tonight as well. We're going to toss it over to Jeff now. Jeff, it's been an interesting night. We're going into the midnight hour.
We are. Things beginning to slow down a bit in downtown Atlanta, but Hope Ford not slowing down at all. In fact, she has been surveying the area, taking a look at damage and talking to law enforcement as well as those who are still milling about. Hope, you are near the Children's Museum, correct?
Yeah, we got word that the Children's Museum was actually vandalized, so we walked down here to check it out for ourselves, and as you can see, we're going to zoom in. We're across the street here. The glass has been broken. There doesn't appear to be anyone inside. People have kind of been, from when we got here, people were walking by to take videos or pictures of that. So by the time we got it there, the glass was already shattered on that. It doesn't appear to be any other damage to any of the other buildings or businesses around here. And we are still seeing in this area, at least, people still walking around. There aren't a lot of police in this area, but we have, from where we just walked from further down there, if you walk into that area with police right now, you're getting arrested. They're not giving out warnings. They are immediately, telling you to put your hands behind your back, and they are taking you into custody. So we're seeing little pockets of vandalism. We're seeing, again, when you're away from the police over on this side, people are still walking around freely. If you're going down to where that area where there are a lot of police officers, right now you can't expect to be arrested.
All right, Hope Ford, thank you so much for that live report. Children's Museum. The Children's Museum, of all places.
Arthur Blank has been a great supporter of the Children's Museum. He has made many generous donations to keep it afloat and to keep it going, and it is a much beloved location for families all through Atlanta Metro. And I know I have raised a couple of children, and they, at various times in their lives, have loved the Children's Museum, as do all families.
All right, we are seeing officers go throughout downtown Atlanta, and although we've seen a lot of arrests here within the past hour, it is very impressive to see the job and the effect of a greater law enforcement presence and the curfew. I thought it was very interesting the approach they took tonight to send out the curfew as an emergency warning. And so that gave the right to say, you knew, you're aware. We all got that alert coming through on our phones. Not seeing a lot of people, but still the heavy law enforcement presence out there. Ron, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm still with you, because I have a question or just an observation, just based upon what we're seeing tonight. And that is this. Even though those 4 folks who came down to bring the snacks and the water and all that other good stuff from law enforcement, still there is a curfew. There is an absolute zero tolerance curfew. And so I would just discourage anyone from going downtown, even if they're saying, hey, you know, we want to help out law enforcement, because then based upon the optics, depending upon what APD does with this, it could be seen as a double standard. Like you're taking some people to jail, but some people are allowed to be there. So it would be interesting to hear what the officer actually tells Andy Parati about those 4 people who were there to deliver snacks. I know they had good intentions, and I get all of that, but still there is a curfew in place, and I'm sure they don't want to encourage more people to come down there to downtown Atlanta.
Right, despite the purpose, you know, of the deeds, exactly. It is zero tolerance across the board. Ron, are we in, what sort of area, what sort of mode are we in right now? Are we pulling back? Are we relaxing? Or, you know, what's the feeling as we get ready to approach midnight?
I think of it, once again, as that forest fire type situation, right? So earlier tonight, we saw the big blaze, the protests. They squashed that big fire, and then they're going around looking for hot spots. I think they're still on high alert. They're still making arrests. They have intel. They have intelligence officers out there, probably wearing plain clothes, trying to see where the hot spots may pop up again, repositioning some of these officers to get them out there to make sure that they can make arrests so nothing flares up again, just like a forest fire, making sure nothing flares up again. So I don't think they're pulling back. I think that they are just evaluating where they are now to determine what they need to do next.
All right, Ron, now we do want to mention, you know, some of the protests were peaceful, like earlier tonight outside of the governor's mansion, which is where John Sherrick was earlier.
Yeah, exactly. And they, you know, they went out there, they stated their cause with a lot of passion concerning peace and what has taken place throughout this country, specifically in Minneapolis, what has happened there recently. But they were very passionate, peaceful, and they complied as well. And matter of fact, John Sherrick, he was live on the scene for us today. And John, what can you tell us about your observations in front of the governor's mansion?
The protest at the governor's mansion was loud and it was peaceful. Protesters occupied West Paces Ferry in front of the governor's mansion in defiance of police orders to clear the streets. State Patrol troopers and Atlanta police gave them break after break, made a few arrests for minor violations. Police and Georgia National Guard troops in full riot gear formed a line around the governor's mansion. No one was breaching that security. Protesters chanted no justice, no peace, and even said prayers for police. Finally, just after 8 p.m., they walked away. The governor and his family were not here. Military and civilian security remain in place.
All right, more scenes today of Atlantans coming together after a violent night of protests last night. Caitlin Ross shows us people coming out to help clean up the damage the morning after.
The owners of this Buckhead jewelry store say they can't begin to estimate the amount of damage that was done here. You can see all of their showcases are smashed. Their windows were broken through as 14 masked men robbed their store. They say they're shattered.
It's just heartbreaking. Like, you know, we just on a Saturday morning get called in, terrified, you know, as a family to wake up to this.
You can see the brick that shatters the window of the estate jewelers on surveillance footage, and then the alleged thieves who rush in and grab whatever they can. The store is a mile and a half from the route protesters took, and manager Leora Isikoff doesn't think robbing her store helps advance the cause of justice.
There's an injustice happening. I know what's going on right now with George Floyd. It's not right. I definitely sympathize and have compassion for his family. Fight injustice with injustice is not how things work.
Hers was the only store damaged in her shopping plaza, but along the protest route, shattered glass was everywhere. Dozens of people came to see the damage from the protests Saturday morning. Brendan Simpson says he supported the protests when they were peaceful, but doesn't know what to make of what happened next.
I've seen hurt, I've seen pain, I've seen anger, I've seen misunderstanding, I've seen just some answers. People want answers.
Helen Bolston couldn't believe the destruction she saw when she woke up, so she drove over to Buckhead to try and help.
And I saw how they have tore up my city. My heart just really fell.
She was joined by dozens of people who came out to support the business owners and clean up the damage.
There are many, many, many ways that we can protest and get things done, but tearing up your city, places you got to wake up and come back to, makes no sense.
All three of them say they want justice for George Floyd, but they don't think this is it.
But this is another level. This is like outrageous.
The owners say they have hired an extra security guard to be here at the store tonight, but they don't know what more damage can be done.
And that was Caitlin Ross earlier today showing us people picking up the pieces. Back live tonight, we're going to go back to Hope 4 downtown. Hope, tell us where you are now.
So we're still by the Children's Museum of Atlanta, where we just told you a few minutes ago that that glass was broken into, and then we started noticing the cops slowly starting moving down. And we told you earlier that there were a lot of people out here, but the cops weren't in this area. That looks like they now are moving down here to arrest people. There were a couple of people that were just walking. The officers have moved in. And it looks like they're talking to them right now. And again, they've been, the last hour or so, they haven't been giving any verbal warnings. If they see you out walking around, they have been arresting people. So this is what we're seeing right now. We're seeing those officers slowly move down the street. And again, just walked up on those two people. Those people were just walking down the street, and they did go ahead and arrest them. So that curfew has been in place since 9 o'clock right now, and they were giving verbal warnings. So we witnessed that a couple of times where they were telling people, hey, get out of the area, go ahead and go home. But lately, the past hour, there are no verbal warnings. They see you, and they are going to arrest you.
And Hope, it looks like things really took a turn, because when we saw you in your last live shot, there was absolutely no police presence. Maybe the vandalism at the Children's Museum alerted them to the area.
It's a possibility because there were no officers down here. They were pretty far back towards the Ferris wheel at that time, and that's where I last saw them whenever I was up here earlier. And then within just the last couple of minutes, they started slowly just moving a little piece at a time up here. And as you just saw, they came across a couple of people who were out walking, and they arrested those people there. So these officers are marching forward. There is the SWAT vehicle that is following behind them. They've been walking people back to the CNN Center. That's where we saw them processing a lot of those people who are being arrested. We're not seeing so there they go again. Again, they're moving down the street. Right now, we're not seeing a whole lot of people out like we did just a few minutes ago. It's interesting. Just want to point out, there's a couple of people standing on the sidewalk right there. They were applauding the officers, and the officers just walked past them. So I just did want to point that out, and we're kind of.
Well, it looks like they are on their way to
We're
the
just
guy
kind
in
of
the
watching
white
this unfold.
shirt. We'll keep an eye on this here.
Yeah, we're just kind of watching this unfold right now.
And we see a couple of other people. There are, as you mentioned, not very many people out at this point.
They're not. We did see a handful of people out earlier, but don't see them anymore. They kind of left that area. We're hearing them yell directions to the cars that are trying to turn down here as the officers continue to march down. We're hearing loud music as well. That's probably just coming from folks in their cars.
Atlanta police on the move, and they stop.
And this has just been happening for the last probably, again, 20 minutes. They're just slowly but surely moving down.
Hope, have you heard anything about protesters moving anywhere else around Atlanta Metro tonight? Has there been any banter about that?
We haven't seen any, we haven't heard any of any other protests in this area, in this downtown area. There were a couple of people here and there who, were walking around, and, they still had signs, they had pictures, and they would stand there for a few minutes. They would protest. The police would come up, give a verbal warning, and then they would move on about their business there. But as far as any protests in this area, we haven't seen anything or heard anything. And again, it was just a few minutes ago that we heard about the damage at the Children's Museum, and we came down here, and a few minutes after that you're seeing what's unfolding right here.
Would you give us your location? Look at the street signs, and it's interesting how, you think you know downtown Atlanta really well. You've been down there thousands of times, but it looks different on television oftentimes, and with some of the new development that has been so rapid over the course of the last year even, some of these traditional spots of recognition are not there anymore. So where are you again?
Yeah, we are right next to the Coca-Cola museum. We're right there. You can probably actually see it. Yeah, that's where we are, kind of in reference. I'm not seeing any street signs. But oh, here we go. Well, I don't want to step out on the road into.
I'm putting you on the spot here. I'm turning you into.
Definitely don't want to get in between whatever is happening here.
I'm turning you into a Google map. Sorry about that.
Oh no, you're fine. Oh yeah, Simpson. So we're at the corner of Simpson, right there next to the.
I just think a lot of people are not, even though people have lived here a very long time, and I think this is hard for folks to understand who don't live here. That downtown Atlanta is a mystery to a lot of people. It's always been that way. A lot of, we are a suburban city in terms of staying in our own communities for the most part. It's been that way for a very long time. It still is. So, I think it's always good that we can kind of tell people exactly where we are in downtown Atlanta.
And we're seeing people being arrested. It's interesting. The people who live in the the apartments and condos that are around here, they're kind of hanging out, and they're taking pictures and videos. So they're inside, but they're still being active spectators to whatever's happening out here. We've seen quite a little bit of that.
All right. Well, Hope, I think we're going to drift away from you here. You've done such a great job. You did such a terrific job last night. Some really, really hard circumstances, and you have done it again tonight. Your travel log downtown has been most illuminating, and it has given us information to help us understand what's going on. We really appreciate it. Brian Kruger, let's check in with you. You two have done Jeff. Such terrific work as well in the midst of some very trying circumstances and oftentimes frightening circumstances. Where are you right now at 12 midnight Sunday morning?
So I'm still at that location where it's basically on Marietta Street between Ted Turner and Centennial Olympic Park Drive, looking right now at the CNN Center. This was the scene earlier where we saw that ATV rider, that four-wheeler, crash into an APD motorcycle cop that had been blocking the road. Now, within about 2 minutes ago, we saw that they just hauled away the ATV. We got a good look at it. It did not appear to suffer any significant damage. In fact, the ATV was actually standing upright the entire time. Now, I did see the rider fall off the four-wheeler whenever he crashed. We do know that the officer, I saw him, he was trying to flag down the four-wheeler, trying to get him to stop because that road had been blocked. It's now back open, you see, but there were at least 4 APD motorcycles that were up there to try to block the road, and this four-wheeler that was absolutely flying was going through, and I saw the officer trying to wave his hands, trying to get him to stop, but the guy was simply going way too fast, and he ended up crashing directly into the motorcycle. Now, the officer was not on the motorcycle, he was next to it, and it's not clear if he took a direct hit or if he got hit because it ricocheted, but we did speak earlier with an Atlanta police spokesperson at Grady Hospital where that officer is right now to get an update. Here's what he had to say.
So around 10:30 this evening, we had an officer that was struck by an ATV on Marietta Street near the intersection of Spring Street, or at the intersection of Spring Street. The preliminary investigation indicates that the officer was stationed there at that intersection. He was blocking traffic from continuing down Marietta Street into an area where protesters were present. While he was there, he was standing near his motorcycle. He was not on the motorcycle. He was standing near his motorcycle. An ATV came past one time. At some point it turned around and it came back past, or was attempting to come back past again at a high rate of speed, and it struck the officer while he stood there on foot. The officer has been taken to the hospital. He was transported by a Georgia Army National Guard vehicle that was nearby. He is in stable condition here with significant injuries to his legs. The rider of the ATV was located on scene, taken into custody. He has been transported here to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. At this point, we're looking into what led up to this accident, what caused it, and that investigation is current and continuing right now.
Significant leg injuries, are we talking about broken bones here?
It appears that that is very likely.
We had heard he may have been trying to slow the ATV rider down. Is there anything to that?
So we're still early on in the investigation, and we're looking into, the circumstances surrounding this. That would be something that would be part of that investigation. We're trying to look at, was this intentional? That's a question that a lot of you have asked already. Was this an intentional act? And we don't know at this point. It's too early to say. The investigation is very active, and we're trying to get to the bottom of it and determine that right now.
What can you tell us about this suspect?
So I don't have any details on him right now. Non-life-threatening injuries, but beyond that, and it was a male, I believe, pretty certain on that. But beyond that, I don't really have any details. The officer has been with the department for at least, or I should say, the officer has been with the department for around 18 years. He was a member of the Atlanta Police Department's motors unit, riding a motorcycle. And again, stationed out there trying to keep the protesters from encountering vehicles, keep vehicles from entering into that area where they were.
What charges?
At this point, it's too early to say. I'm not going to speculate as to what they will be, but we do have him in custody. It's just kind of early on for that.
But alert and conscious when he was brought here to the hospital?
I believe so. I've heard reports that he was inside and actually was talking with fellow officers.
So was that street blocked off? Should that ATV have been on that street?
So I believe that traffic was restricted, and I'm not sure. I'd have to get a little more detail, and actually that will be part of what we're looking into as part of that investigation, because they were not simply, it wasn't that the entire road was blocked down. They were diverting traffic from, I believe it was Marietta Street onto Spring Street to keep them from continuing down to Centennial Olympic Park Drive, where some protesters were. So it wasn't that the street was completely blocked off. They were diverting traffic, though. I'd have to look at, was he entering into a closed area or not? At this point, kind of early on, but that will be something that we're looking at.
The vehicle that transported the officer, how important was it that it was so close nearby to help that transport?
This was a very concerning incident. Anytime you have an officer injured, it's extremely concerning. These are our brothers and sisters. So having EMS that is almost immediately there is just huge. So it was great to have them nearby. We're extremely appreciative of what they're doing out here with us tonight. The support that we've had, not only from them, but our fellow law enforcement agencies, from local, state, federal partners, has been great. So we're really, really appreciative of that. And again, to have a medical unit that's so close was great. And I'm sure at any time you have EMS medical assistance provided early on, it does make a difference.
While we have you, what's your assessment of how things have gone tonight with APD's attempts to keep these protests peaceful?
I'm not going to get into too much detail. I'm going to go back and try to get a little more detail for you guys to provide another update. I'm not sure if we have given one out there, but I know our officers are out there. They're working really, really hard to try to bring this to a peaceful end and try to keep peace in the city. So we're going to continue doing that as long as we need to. And we're really proud of the efforts of our officers. They're putting in a lot of work, some long hours, and I know it's hard on them, but they're doing a great job.
Okay, that was Sergeant John Chaffee. He is a spokesperson for Atlanta Police. So just to recap some of what he said, the officer, again, was not on his bike at the time, but was struck. He had significant injuries to his leg. You heard one of the reporters ask, are we talking about broken bones? And he said that's probably likely. But the good news is that we did hear him say that he is apparently talking to his fellow officers inside his hospital room. So that is good to hear. So he He is certainly significant injuries, but it does sound like he is stable at this point in time. The ATV rider, the four-wheeler driver, we do know that he did sustain some minor injuries, non-life-threatening injuries is what they said. He is in custody. Not clear what kind of charges he is going to face, but certainly there'll be some clarity on that in the coming days as far as what kind of charges. They do say they need to do the investigation, figure out what exactly happened. I can tell you, just as an eyewitness who watched it happen, I saw him. It was about 10:20. He came down south on Marietta, absolutely flying. There were a lot of APD bicycle officers that were blocking the area. The guy was swerving a little bit. He was going very, very fast. He did have a helmet on. He kind of threw a hand up. I don't know if he was a wave or just making a gesture at the officers that were there. He went down, turned around, and started to come back northbound on Marietta as he passed all of them. And it was at that time that I saw the officer. There were a handful of motorcycles that were up there. The officer was waving his hands, telling him to slow down, and that is whenever it crashed in there. You heard the Sergeant Chafee say one of the things they're going to try to figure out if this was intentional. You know, all I can tell you is that, as seeing it myself, is that he was definitely going just incredibly fast, and that officer was trying to flag him down, trying to slow him down whenever the wreck happened.
Ryan,
Guys.
Nice job. You have been going full throttle for more than 6 hours tonight. We keep coming to you in hope for a lot of information, and you have really found yourself in some very difficult circumstances. I want to mention all of our fine reporters, photojournalists, our producers, all of our people that have been working long hours to bring you these important pictures, this important information to the community, to the region, and certainly to the nation as well. And we are grateful for all of the great folks around here at 11 Alive who have done such terrific work in these hours.
So many friends and family members have been reaching out, saying they know this must be difficult and taxing, seeing us on the air for hours on end. But not just that, Ryan mentioned him witnessing that incident involving that officer the second time we came back to him, just how he kept replaying it in his mind. So we are so thankful for their hard work there on the ground. Nick Sturdivant has also been with us throughout the day, crisscrossing the area. Nick, walk us back through what you've seen as you've gone from place to place.
Hey, Aisha, it's been a very busy day here in Metro Atlanta. We've been, as you mentioned, up and down the metro area. Honestly, we didn't know what to expect when we started our day. Right around 4 o'clock, we were in East Point at the Camp Creek Marketplace, and we heard reports of possible looting, protesters, but when we got there, it was a completely different story. We bumped into attorney and an activist, Moali Davis, and he told me that a group of men, and we saw it for you, you can see it for yourself, that were lined up in front of Target, and their goal, they told me their goal was not to protect the Target, but protect the young people, other people from looting, from making any mistakes. So they were there encouraging people and trying not to have a repeat of Friday night. And then we shot up 45 minutes away to Gwinnett County, Sugarloaf Mills Mall, where on Duluth Highway, protesters for hours were going up and down the street on Duluth Highway protesting. And at one point when we got there, they had made a loop, dozens of young people. One protester told me the age range was 16 to early 20s, but they hit that curve outside of Sugarloaf Mills Mall and towards a Dollar Tree area, and that's where they faced off with police officers. At one point we saw some things thrown, but no one was taken into custody. Things got tense, but it quickly dispersed. But those protesters, for the most part, were going up and down the street until it got dark, and then we went over to Lenox and Phipps just to check things out, because things were a little crazy and a little hectic over there Friday night. And for the most part, it was calm. I mean, not even for the most part, it was calm. You saw police officers at Phipps. They were lining the entrance area. You also saw the National Guard at Lenox. They were formed a blockade. And then from here, we made our way here, where it's been peaceful for the most part. Officers are still here. It's sort of thinned out, sort of in this area in the 2-hour time span that we've been here. Officers, you know, since we got here, have not really missed a beat of seeing people who are breaking the curfew and putting them in custody and zip ties. And they're snatching anybody up that is not supposed to be outside of media members and other law enforcement, obviously. And National Guard is at Centennial Olympic Park guarding that area. But again, it's been a very busy day, and we've sort of seen everything evolve. And again, we didn't know what we were going to get into when this day started, but you see how the day has sort of ended.
All right, Nick Sturdivant, thank you so much. We do feel like things are starting to wind down and really come to a close here. Despite a much smaller crowd, we are still experiencing some vandalism. We were just hearing that, did you say, Lauren, the American Cancer Society? Hearing that there has been some vandalism at the American Cancer Society. So still some damage for people and businesses and organizations that are very meaningful to this community, despite a much smaller crowd and despite a greater amount of peaceful protests that did take place all around the city. Outside of the governor's mansion, we heard Gwinnett County was relatively peaceful as well. Things in downtown Atlanta did escalate at times, and we're starting to hear more reports of vandalism that have taken place, and the amount of arrests really went up a lot tonight because of not only the curfew, but the zero tolerance policy from Chief Shields and Mayor Bottoms.
Yeah, the tone of the night was set around 7 o'clock when we saw the news conference with the mayor and also with the chief of police. And the mayor spoke of her mother, who told her that she felt like the times have rolled past the 1960s, a very difficult time. And she was very sad about it and spoke certainly about Minneapolis, spoke about Mr. Floyd tonight, spoke about being black in America. She then went on to say that, you know, at the same time, there's going to be a curfew tonight, and it's going to begin at 9 o'clock. It cannot happen again in our city, she said. She wanted people to be safe. She wanted people at home. She wanted parents, families, grandmothers to know where children were, and that way streets will be maintained in Atlanta. She also spoke of the situation on Friday night into Saturday morning, saying it was as volatile as it gets. There were Molotov cocktails that had not gone off in businesses that were found. It was 10 times worse than what you see on television. She also spoke about anarchy. Anarchists were involved, that there was political interference in what began as a peaceful protest. And that was some of what she shared at the news conference. Chief Shields then came out, had some very strong things to say. She also spoke about the murder in Minneapolis of Mr. Floyd, and she also spoke of the terroristic tactics that were being employed in the violence that we saw on Friday night into Saturday morning. She says it is okay to protest. We encourage people to protest, but not when Atlanta police are receiving knives being thrown at them, rocks, gunshots, Molotov cocktails. She said that these anarchists were embedded, hundreds of them, in 1,000 group of protesters, and she said it was crap. Her words, not mine. Crap. She said there would be a zero tolerance and would not be putting up with any of it. And Aisha, we certainly have seen that very strong, emotional, and tactical view that the city and Atlanta police showed tonight in coordination with Governor Kemp and the state. You know, we talked about 500 officers, 500 National Guard members that were going to be brought to Atlanta to protect, but that then grew to 1,500, and we now have learned that it will escalate to 3,000. They will be in place in a state of emergency through the end of next weekend.
And our Atticus team is giving us a recap of where we all started and where we ended up. Let's take a look.
I'm very angry, first and foremost, that this has to happen. And for a while, I was very confused on where I should focus that anger because I'm not a violent person. But right now, I'm feeling hopeful. Like, I'm happy to see that so many people came out, and I'm excited to be able to speak to them. Hopefully my voice will reach a lot of people, and I'll be able to provide some people that are confused or angry or feeling hopeless something to look forward to and something to believe in.
We agree with you. For what it's worth, we agree with you. We're outraged. We're hurt by this as well.
It's difficult. You don't know what it's like. I can't sleep because I don't know if it's going to be my dad, my brother, and my friend. It's difficult. And this police officers are getting away with it. And no one is doing anything about it. The policies are not changing. And they're being sent by our men to protect us.
We're good.
This is not the legacy of civil rights in America. This is chaos and we're buying into it. This won't change anything. We're no longer talking about the murder of an innocent man. We're talking about how you're burning police cars on the streets of Atlanta, Georgia. Go home.
When everything else goes away, when you don't get treated right in New York, when you don't get treated right in LA, when you can't get treated right in Detroit, when you don't get treated right in St. Louis, when you don't get treated right in Alabama, Atlanta has been here for us. This city don't deserve it.
Atlanta is not perfect, but we're a lot better than we ever were, and we're a lot better than cities are. And it is the responsibility of us to make this better right now.
I've seen hurt, I've seen pain, I've seen anger, I've seen misunderstanding, I've seen just some answers. People want answers.
And I saw how they have tore up my city. My heart just really fell.
We are better than this. We're better than this as a city. We are better than this as a country.
We rise like a phoenix out of the ashes that Atlanta has always done. Will we use this as a moment to say that we will not do what other cities have done, and in fact, we will get better than we've been?
It has been a very difficult 2 days, and we will see what Sunday brings for certain. The curfew tonight certainly changed the dynamic of what we saw. It started at 9 o'clock. The curfew will roll until sunrise on Sunday morning, and we will have complete coverage for you Sunday morning beginning at 6 a.m. right here on 11 Alive.
And our team has been committed to sticking with you throughout the day, throughout the night, making sure you are informed about what is happening within your community from all angles, Ron.
Absolutely, and we're just wishing everyone a great evening. Stay safe. Even with the coronavirus, we have to think about that. And just like T.I. had pointed out and Killer Mike, take your pain to the polls, but don't take it against other people or property.
Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Alive, we'd like to say thank you First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear, on 11 Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear, on 11 Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear, on 11 Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscasts not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.